Hello, and welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast. This is, yeah, you can tell I haven't been on the podcast for a while because I don't really know how to start it off. Welcome to the
Morgan, it's live.
Can't edit this.
Welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast. Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Don Bluth, and wow, everything in between. It's been too long, guys. I'm off once, and look what happens to me. I don't even know our catchphrase. I'm one of your hosts, Morgan Stradling. I'm here with my lovely co-hosts, Mason Smith and Chelsea Robson.
Hello, my friends.
Hello, animation fan.
Even then, I mix up your names. Normally I say Chelsea Robson and Mason Smith, but anyways, yes. So for those of you who are new to our show and are like, what the heck is happening? We are three friends who are obsessed with animation, all things animated, and we get together every 2 weeks and we talk about an animated movie, past or present. This time we are present. We are talking about a new release, the Angry Birds movie, and we just give our thoughts on it. We have a good time. It's really fun, laid back. The unique thing about our show is that it's for fans by fans, so we definitely give a fan perspective. Some of us are involved in the animation industry, Mason, who is pursuing to be in that field, and then others of us probably will never be in that industry, but we still appreciate it for everything that it
Not
produces.
with that attitude.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm not just hoping to be. I am actually a professional animator now.
Well, whoa, big update. Mason is a professional animator. He is no longer aspiring. He's no longer, wow, all of those other...
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm working for like Pixar or anything, but for about a month now, yeah.
He's working.
As of a month ago, I've been working as a consultant for rigging and animation at a game company in town that makes educational computer games, and I am in charge of all the animation for the characters, and so it's not a huge deal, but yeah, I guess technically I am a professional animator now, and it just sort of happened. So I am proud of my metamorphosis, and I hope to.
You have become a beautiful butterfly.
A beautiful butterfly.
Oh, Mason
From up
butterfly.
here, you all look like tiny ants.
Oh, on the next Rotocast, Mason, you need to draw yourself turning into a Heimlich.
A beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm sure it'll lead to big, to even cooler things. But yeah, it is a really cool job, and I'm glad to have it. But yeah, I do a little animating.
Well, cool news on my side is for all of the patrons know that for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing this thing called Making Dreams Come True. And if you follow me on any social media network or anything, then that is like I've been doing that type of thing and Mason thinks that I'm like taking over.
When they realize whose dreams you're making come true. It's like,
I make other people's dreams come true too.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you make our dreams come true by being on the podcast with us every week. So. Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to.
Okay, I have to explain now. So basically, for a long time, I didn't feel like a lot was going on in my life, or at least I just wanted more to be going on, and so I decided, okay, I'm gonna make my dreams come true. Which I made a whole list of things, of even small things like hiking the Superstition Mountains, which are really close to where I live, and I had never done it, and I just wanted to do it. So that was one of my make my dreams come true, and it has progressively increased until last week I did something kind of crazy, and I bought tickets to go to the Olympics in Rio.
Dun 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 dun.
No, don't get the Zika virus.
Dun dun dun
That's what I've heard
dun.
about too, yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to visit me after the fact because
Probably not. So I will be going down to Brazil, and I'll be spending 6 weeks there, and so I'll be traveling from multiple cities, and stay tuned to my website to be able to see, and also join my email list, and you'll be able to be updated on all of those areas that I'm going to go to, because I am going to be doing several shows along my trip as well. So if you happen to be in Brazil and you want to see me, this is a good chance that you have. So I'm probably going to
For one time only, Chelsea is coming back to her mother country of Brazil.
Well, 10 cities, so it'll be pretty amazing.
10-city tour.
10
Wow.
city tour.
10-city tour, people.
Yeah. So that is like super exciting in my life. So I've been really planning and really putting that together, and a lot of puzzle pieces have been going together to be able to put that in action. So that's what I've been going on.
In the chat, they're already asking us to do Rio instead of Angry Birds. Too late. We're already starting the podcast, y'all. Well, that's great news, Chelsea. Morgan, do you have any exciting news that you want to announce to top all that?
Oh man, I can't top Chelsea's news, but I'm pregnant, so.
We've known for a while, but.
We've known for a really long time. I've been very, 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 very sick, going on 13 weeks being sick. 13, yeah. I'm 17 weeks, and I've been nonstop sick, throwing up 5 to 10 times a day for 13 of those weeks. It's awesome, and that's why I wasn't here last time for the episode, and yeah, so life is great, but I'm hoping it goes away. They're like, oh, after 12 weeks it'll go away, and I'm like, no, okay, maybe? So I'm on medicine now, and it does help, but I didn't take my medicine last night because I have been feeling a little bit better, and I've progressively gotten worse throughout the day. So yeah, sorry about the bummer news. I guess I need to be more positive, but yeah, so that's my exciting news. I will find out whether it's a boy or a girl in like a few weeks. So I'll keep you guys updated, and that's all I have. So I'm sorry I couldn't be here last time. I was really bummed because it was Titan AE, but like, I've just really, really been out of it. It's not even like I'm my normal self. It's very strange for me because I'm always like on the ball. But anyways, let's move on. We have a really fun episode. So this was an episode that was picked by the patrons, because the patrons, one of our perks when we reached a certain level is that we would review new films. And so we are going to be reviewing the Angry Birds movie, which came out a few weeks ago. Just the way that our recording cycle went, it's probably been about 2 weeks since it's come out, 2 weekends since it's come out. So we definitely have some box office that we can talk about. It's been out a while, critical reception, our own thoughts, as well as we're going to start this off with a nerdy couch discussion. And this is per the request of one of our writers, Brandon. It was his birthday this past week, and he really wanted us to do a nerdy couch discussion talking about video game adaptations. So we're going to make this really long and talk about all different outlets, current video game adaptations. Ratchet and Clank recently was one that was done in animation, which we did not review because the Roto Council did decide not to do that one.
Denied.
And we're also talking
about why
it
was such a successful film.
We'll also talk about ideas of possible animated video game adaptations and whatnot. So let's get into it. Video game adaptations.
Okay, so one of the first video game animated adaptations, like shows or films that I ever watched was Sonic the Hedgehog. He actually had a cartoon.
I did watch that cartoon growing up.
He had like a cool one and like a lame one, and I can't remember which was which. I think Sonic is lame regardless, but worst fandom ever. But I did remember watching that, and my dad used to call me Masonic the Hedge Boy, so that was one of my kooky nicknames.
I did watch that show. I specifically remember about Sonic the Hedgehog was the end credits. I don't know why those stood out to me so much, but I did watch that. It seems like 90s was a great time for animation in general in TV shows, because it seems like everything had an animated counterpart to it. The Pokemon had the Pokemon anime.
That's right.
Sonic the Hedgehog had the Sonic the Hedgehog. There was a Super Mario Brothers.
The Super Mario Super Show.
The Super Mario
All
Super
toast
Show.
as toast.
I just remember one quote from one episode one time when Peach is like running outside, and I think Luigi is running after Mario, and
Classic.
She comes out and she's like, "Don't forget your frog suit."
What the most useless suit ever? Gotta have that Tanuki.
Oh.
Yeah. I wonder if any of our listeners remember doing the Mario swing your arms from side to side. Come on, let's go, let's do Mario. He was like a professional wrestler that voiced Mario. Well, they had like live action stuff, and then they had cartoons. It was a huge mess. Huge mess.
So there's the house that's like a couple miles away from my house that my friend showed me when we were younger, and just today, or not today, like last week, I was like, I need to drive by and see if this house still is there. I'm driving by, and this house, the whole front yard is lined with giant pots. But they're like straight up pots that look exactly like the pots that you would see in Super Mario
The
Brothers.
tubes, the pipes.
The tubes, yes, the
Oh,
pipe.
the pipes, cool.
With
Yeah,
the long
and
thing
so-
and then the opening.
Yeah, so it's like and they're all like orange throughout the whole thing. So I'm just like, oh, where's the green one? I just want the green one.
They
Oh,
just
yeah.
need to paint it green and it would be perfect.
It would be. So
Oh, then you could like duck on it and be like, "Brow, brow, brow."
Yeah, some YouTuber would make a great parody video using those for sure.
Oh.
yeah.
I think Lindsay Sterling does a Legend of Zelda parody short film where she's like breaking all the pots in that one room of Ocarina of Time, and the card's just horrified. Then she goes outside, and then they all grow back, and she comes back inside and breaks them again. Fan favorite,
Nice.
fan favorite.
Speaking of Zelda, there was the Legend of Zelda cartoon.
Well,
Short-lived.
excuse me, princess.
There is a montage on YouTube that's just all the times that Link says that in the show. It's about
Says
2
something
minutes where it's just,
horrible.
well, excuse me, princess. My husband has never even watched this cartoon, but because I quote that all the time, he quotes that to me all the time whenever
Oh, I bet
I'm
he does all
out
the
of
time.
line or whatnot. And so I get the excuse me, princess line a lot. Probably the best thing to come out of that series was that line. So thank you.
That's
So,
pretty great.
That's a pretty,
then-
again, another 80s adaptation.
Okay, so specifically Zelda, do you think there were talks that Netflix was going to start doing a Zelda show. Is that going to be live action, or is it going to be CG?
That was a false rumor.
Oh, okay. Good.
Here's
Have
something
I made a video about it, and so did a whole bunch of other people, and it was like, nope, fake out. This is just fake.
Oh.
Oh, well,
But
oh, well.
Mason's actually a fan of that not happening.
Has anyone ever... y'all have heard this a million times, but there can never be a Zelda cartoon. Never. Link
Cartoon?
doesn't talk. The end. Anyway,
I am in the camp of more Zelda is great. So
Morgan wants it to happen.
yes, I'm on the opposite side. I don't care if he talks. I take your own spin on it. Great, sure, fine. For the games, he can't talk, right? Because that's the shtick, is that he doesn't talk in the games. But hey, excuse me, princess, that's a great line. I'd love to hear more of that from Link. Okay, so I personally think Legend of Zelda, while like an animated movie, I just think there's too much to pack in there to really make a. I mean, of course, you can make it work, but I feel like it's better as more of an ongoing series, whether it's live action or animated. I think would be great. I personally am a fan of, yes, bring it on. I would like to see this. Please do it. But Mason, not so much.
All right. So speaking of Pokemon, I hardly ever watched the original show, but I ate up Pokemon Origins. Like, that was freaking dope. Like, it was an anime based on the show, based on the game, and it was very like game centric, and I really liked it for that. I think if they, apparently they're making a Pokemon live action movie come out. I hope they make it more like the games instead of the anime with Ash and Brock and all that nonsense.
I did not see Pokemon Origins, but I was a huge fan of the original anime. I watched all of the episodes. I got very frustrated because of WB. They would cut certain episodes because they wouldn't pass the American censors, and it was very frustrating because there were certain episodes that were cut out which were key plot points. For example, Ash goes
the
into
Porygon one?
well, yeah, Ash goes into the Safari Zone for one of the episodes. I think it's the Dratini episode, because that's where you find Dratini, and catches a herd of Tauros. And this whole episode was completely caught or cut, and no one ever saw it. And then next thing you know, he has this herd of Tauros in all future episodes. Like, of course, if you were a fan, you knew that, okay, that comes from the cut episode, blah, blah, blah. But it also very frustrated me because I think through the first couple series, he was able to see every single Pokemon. However, if those episodes were cut, then there were certain Pokemon that he was never able to see, like Dratini and whatnot. And It frustrated me very much. I care about this a lot. So
Okay, so if you inserted all the deleted episodes, Ash would have seen all the Pokemon in the
yes,
Kanto Pokédex.
yes. And
So
you know,
even though he sucked at battling and lost like his first round against the Elite Four, he still got to set out and
oh
fill
yeah,
up the Pokédex.
oh yeah. So he achieved his goal.
Well, that makes me think of him as a little less of a loser, but I'm more of a red guy, if you know what I mean.
You know, so the thing that bothered me about this versus the games is that the whole point of the games, we all know, is catch as many
dominate.
Pokemon as you can. Like, you gotta catch them all.
Dominate.
Although Ash does not have that mentality. He just doesn't catch them all. He picks and chooses. He lets them go. It very much has a more of a moral message than the video games, which was like just dominate every creature and go.
You have to win at any cost.
It's like, yeah, so.
It's Spore, Lock On, Guillotine, Recover, Repeat, Spore, Lock On, Guillotine, Recover.
Yeah, so that was a great one. I watched that up until I went through the Orange Islands. I watched a few of the seasons and then kind of fell out of it and didn't watch them, but it's still going to this day. Pokemon is very popular,
It's
new
still
games.
chugging.
And, new movies are coming out all the time. It seems probably every year there's a new Pokemon movie. There's about 16 or so.
Oh, brother! And Sun and Moon came out. It's like I
we-
could never catch up. This is why I'm a Gen 1er. I only have time and focus for the first two games. I'm actually a Gen 2er, but that doesn't roll off the tongue. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
Genitour, kind of like Saboteur.
I'm a Genitour. That sounds a little weird. Anyway, speaking of animes, while I was doing my research, according to my research, if you look on like Wikipedia and look for like a list of like animation that's based on video games, I'd say about 75% of them are animes, like deep Japanese animes from Japan. Hopefully y'all can't hear that weed whacker that's going on outside my house. It's like 8 o'clock and they're doing yard work.
Can't hear a thing.
No.
Shut up out there. But anyway, I vaguely remember Kirby. Kirby had an anime, and they had like 100 episodes. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Oh.
It was called Kirby Right Back at You. Animes it's a real Japanese anime when it's got this like snappy title that doesn't really make sense.
Nice.
But yeah, it was pretty dope. Also known as Hoshino Kabi. It was pretty great. King DDD was always trying to get Kirby, and Kirby never said anything. So there's a cartoon where the main character, the hero, never says any words. So I don't know. Maybe Link could work. He would have to have a lot of But would he be adult Link or child Link?
Don't know.
I do not know. I'm out of most of these conversations. Is a sad thing. See, the video games that I grew up with were like James Bond. That's
not a video game.
Well, I mean,
GoldenEye is, but that
GoldenEye. Yeah, I had GoldenEye, and that was like the only game that we ever played. And then later on, we finally got Mario Kart, and so yeah, as far as like moving things over. I think they did have a Battletoads cartoon for a second.
I think Battletoads was a comic and then a show before it was a game.
Oh really?
Yeah. But the game is notorious for being really difficult. But yeah, it's a NES favorite. Coming from my vast experience in retro games.
I was never able to get past the snake level.
I'm sort of a Final Fantasy fan. Like, I don't keep up with the new Final Fantasy titles because I think they're just ridiculously convoluted. So, no, I'm not much of a Final Fantasy fan, but I do like a couple of titles, mainly like 6, 4, and 7, I guess. And I loved Advent Children, and that one was based off of the story, picking up where Final Fantasy 7 left off. And I think it's pretty well animated for back when it came out. I think it came out in like 2005 or something like that. And I even bought like the collector's edition version, and I was real into it. And then one of the very first and most important CG films was in fact a Final Fantasy game. It was called Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, and it wasn't like a spin-off or based on any existing Final Fantasy game. I guess it was just based on that lore. But it was known for really striving for photorealistic motion capture animation and surfacing and stuff. And if you looked at it now, I think now it would hold up to like like an in-engine cutscene for like a modern video game. Like the visuals have definitely aged, but if you're gonna study animation, you got to know about the spirits within, because it is a kind of a milestone in the history of animation. And then if you're hardcore like me, there were a couple of amazing Dead Space animated films that were really good. And then Overwatch. Have you and Chelsea heard about Overwatch?
I've never heard that.
Okay, working in a video game company, of course I know about Overwatch. So it's the newest title from Blizzard of like World of Warcraft fame, and it's the most effectively marketed computer game I have ever seen. Like people who like Overwatch are way into Overwatch. Like they introduced this cast of characters by giving them their own like 5-minute short film each to explain their backstory and explain their powers, explain like if they're good or evil and all the cool things you could do. And then you play the game and they don't do anything that they show you in the short film, but you still have this mentality that's like, whoa, I'm not just playing a character, I'm playing a hero with like a backstory and all this stuff. And they've come out with I think they come out with a new short film like every 2 weeks, and everyone at my work is obsessed with it. Like I don't like being married and having like a lot of other obligations. Like I haven't played Overwatch yet. Plus, I got to get through the new Doom before I play Overwatch. But it's really interesting because even in the game, the characters follow the 12 principles of animation. Like there's all this anticipation and squash and stretch when a character jumps, and it's all very cartoony, but just really, really well made. And so, like, if you don't play the game, you should probably like watch like the intro videos and like the short films and stuff, because it's really interesting. It's like they made short films specifically to tie into the game. It wasn't like they started the game and then some company was like, hey, what if we made an Overwatch movie? But so it's definitely a marketing ploy, but it's an extremely effective one. So anyway,
Awesome.
that's my Overwatch plug.
Well, and then there's always this talk of my favorite video game. I would love for it to be a movie.
Oh, they gotta make an Assassin's Creed movie. Oh, they already did. Oh, they gotta make a Minecraft movie. Yes, they did. It was called Pixels. I'm just kidding.
So there's not quite a few video game movies. I think video game movies in general, not necessarily animation, going more broad, have a very bad reputation of not going over well. That they're typically flops. And recently, Ratchet and Clank, which we have not had the chance to review yet, did not get good ratings. It didn't do well in the box office.
And one of the guys involved with it was like, he was like, I don't want anything to do with that movie anymore.
One of the co-writers who left midway through the project, but ultimately a lot of his stuff was still used. I think it's kind of a bummer, especially for animation. I mean, the problem for me and Ratchet and Clank is, one, I was unable to go to the screening because I was sick, and but then when I was thinking about, okay, do we want to do this episode or a review on it? I mean, it just didn't. As someone who hadn't played that particular series, there was no draw to me in the way that it was marketed that made me really want to go and go out of my way to see this movie. So I think that for me was a big negative about the way that film was promoted. It was just I feel like it was trying to appeal to the audience that maybe already had seen the movie, and for those who hadn't seen it, it was like, well, what's in it for me? Why would I want to watch this?
Yeah.
So
you're not a Ratchet Clank fan, huh?
I am not. Nope. So,
and I wouldn't know either. If you showed me a picture of Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter like side by side, I'd be like, which one's Banjo-Kazooie? Like I wouldn't even know what these franchises are.
So, I mean, that's unfortunate, I guess, for animated films.
So
video games turned animated films, right? Because this one didn't do well. It's going to set precedents for future ones. There's other ones that have been made. Spirits Within, I think, is kind of a very prominent one. It was this big, high profile, and it was a flop. But do you think?
So, like, is it like a for fans thing? Like, do you think they're just like cashing in on fan like popularity with the fans, or do you think there's actually been attempts to make a universally beloved video game movie, animated film?
Oh, it's
Not
definitely getting into the fans, I think. I just don't feel like there has been.
All the stuff that's animated, like we're not even talking about live action. We could open up a
Right.
whole different can of worms with that. Worms Armageddon would be a great game to make into a movie. But anyway, I really think the animated ones, specifically the animated ones, they just, you know, there's still the stigma that they're like kids stuff, you know, animation, and I feel like that's more for the fans. Like if you don't understand what happened in Final Fantasy VII, like, and you watch Advent Children, you'd be like, what? You know? And I think a lot of it relies on like the lore. You know, you have to know the lore, and you have to know what characters are doing which, because maybe they don't have time to explain the lore, or maybe the game didn't have a lore to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know, kind of tying that into the Angry Birds movie, you know, this was a incredibly popular video game, and it's just funny because we've mostly been talking about video games that are console games, and this is a video game that is a mobile game, and it took over the world probably about 4 years ago, reached its peak, right? Everyone had played it. It reached, you know, 3 stars on all their levels or whatnot. And someone said, "Hey, let's turn that into a movie, right? Let's expand this." And
yeah,
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, was that made for the fans of the franchise, or was it just made to for more commercial appeal? I think at this point everyone has heard of Angry Birds. Well, not everyone had heard about Ratchet and Clank, so it was able to appeal to a bigger audience that way. However, yeah, we'll talk about it as we get into our review, but it really just feels like attempting to cash in on the popularity and the craze that was Angry Birds. And the sad thing about Angry Birds is that it's not even popular anymore. I know there's some people who still play it, but most people had already played it, beat it, completed it, didn't continue to buy future iterations of the games. And you know, you would go into different stores and you'd see Angry Birds pillows and you'd see Angry Birds shirts, and Angry Birds was everywhere. And I feel that significantly has died down over the past few years. You still see it definitely, but not to the extent that it was just like everything between 2010 to 2012.
Yeah.
You know,
2009 is when this whole thing started, this whole Angry Birds phenomenon. Forget the Angry Birds movie, they need to make a Flappy Bird movie. All he's trying to do is get through the pipes, and it's really hard. Anyway, okay, so... Oh, there is one animated film based on video games that we haven't talked about, and that's I'm Gonna Wreck It!
Yes.
Wreck-It Ralph.
But
is it a game based on a video? Is it a movie based on a video game? Like it's so much different.
It's based on video game concepts. Like obviously, it's more or less a Donkey Kong type. But they couldn't get the rights, or they didn't want to get the rights, and they wanted to create their own characters, which you could market and sell, and
make more money.
Yes, lots and lots of money without having to pay those filthy rights. That is a successful video game movie to me, because
it wasn't about any particular video game. It was about a world of video games, and they made their own conflict, made their own characters, and everyone else was kind of like a cameo or a supporting character. And I think there's gold in that. Like, I think it was yourmoviesucks.org, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. He explains that like there will never be a good video game live action adaptation because like no studio believes that a filmmaker can stay true to the game, like 100% true to the game and the lore and the characters without changing anything and still make a good movie. So there's or they don't care and they're like, yeah, we'll sign away the rights to this game, who cares? And some dumb director makes something horrible. There has been but one exception in my mind for a truly faithful video game adaptation live action film, but it was live action, so we are yet to see.
You can't leave us hanging.
Yeah, what was it?
Silent Hill. Like y'all don't want to see that. It's really spooky. But anyway, having played Silent Hill, I was like, that is exactly how the game is. But anyway, But we don't get lucky like that at all. Like 90% of the time, we don't get lucky. They have to invent new things or make new arcs or change characters up, and it's just a mess. But Wreck-It Ralph like stands alone. A, because it's Disney, it's got like that golden Disney touch, to it. But that turns everything to clinkety clink gold.
I think it was the Rich Moore aspect on that one. Just me.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope to see a Wreck-It Ralph sequel, and hope to see all kinds of cool cameos. But it's pretty interesting. And then there's Tron, which is like a semi-animated movie that's based on an imaginary video game, which is getting kind of meta, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what about? Okay, let's brainstorm. Say we're at the studio and we're having a brainstorm session. So, gang, what animated films or shows based on video games would we like to see if we could take an IP from video game world and turn it into a feature film, animated or a series?
Well, I mentioned this in the comments, and I don't know if this is necessarily would be best for animation, but if they could get it right, like in this theoretical world where whatever movie we're going to adapt, let's say it's going to be a great, fantastic movie that's faithful, that's awesome, that people love. You don't have to be a fan of the original to get it. I think it would be cool if Nintendo did a Nintendo Cinematic Universe where there's all these standalone video games. So you have a Mario movie, you have a Zelda movie, and they could have various sequels as needed. You have a Donkey Kong movie, and then there's the ultimate culmination with a Super Smash Brothers movie, and all of your favorites get together and duke it out.
I would totally be okay with this.
Oh, a Super Smash Brothers movie.
Yeah. So, but animation, I don't know if animation necessarily is the best format. I mean, it'd be awesome. Actually, it'd be super awesome because we're already used to these characters in animated form, more or less. When we try to convert them to the real world, they kind of can get funky. So, yeah, why not animation? But, you know me, I'm all for Legend of Zelda. Give me more Zelda. Whether it's live action, animated, or it's a series in either of those mediums, just give it to me. I want it. I will watch it. I will pay you money all day long. So
I will pay you money. That'd be cool. I have an idea for a cartoon series. They should make not a Mario cartoon series, but a Wario cartoon series with him and Waluigi. Yeah, and it would be great because he's such a nasty character. It would be like Ed, Edd and Eddy, but with Nintendo, And you know how a lot of animation like on Cartoon Network, like I'm thinking like Adventure Time and like stuff like that. Like it's kind of that like rando like super like semi creepy and just like outrageous type of comedy where like all kinds of weird random things happen. Like I really think that Wario would fit in a universe like that, and so that would be my pitch. I think he'd do pretty well. Plus he has speaking lines, and then like Mario and Luigi could be like cameos, but they'd be like losers that he always like outwits or something like that. I'd like to see something like that. Rides around on his motorcycle, eats a lot of fried food.
Esther in the chat says Kingdom Hearts movie.
Oh, that's too meta. Like it's like a movie based on a game that's based off of movies.
Disney characters. Yeah, that'd be really hard.
Stick to the games. There's just something about games that has like puts you in control of them. Plus their length is a lot longer than a movie, to where just some stuff you can appreciate more. Like I would never expect anyone to make a Metal Gear Solid movie, animated film, or anything like that because those games last like 14 hours. But anyway.
Some other comments are Metroid movie, hands down.
Okay. Metroid would be sweet. That'd be cool. Have you seen some of the fan movies of Metroid?
No.
They're really good. There's like one that came out like last year, I think. It was really, really good. Really well done.
So, do you think
there should be a Mr. Game & Watch animated film?
Talk about obscurity.
Oh, there should be an Earthbound show. Earthbound would be so trippy.
Earthworm Jim?
Oh,
Earthworm Jim would be cool.
Well, Earthworm Jim was a TV show first.
Was it though?
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Earth made me remember.
Yeah.
They should make a movie out of 1080 snowboarding. Yeah. 360 melon.
King Griffey Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Madden.
Oh, there should be a Madden TV series.
I always played King Griffey Jr. And
I
there
can't
was that
remember.
one part where it's like you would hit the ball, and then the ref would like say he's out of here, and then the guy would like break his. He would do one of two things. He would break the bat on his knee, which, ow, and then second one he would be like, oh come on. So
NBA
but
Jam.
yes.
He's
Oh,
not
NBA
fair.
Jam.
Monster
That'd be
Jam.
sweet.
Now we're really going down the rabbit hole. See, with these movies, these are kind of like actually the movies they are making nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
where it's like a very, very obscure premise. Trying to think of one recently that it falls into this category, but it's like, okay, you know, okay, Madden, it's a video game everyone loves. We're gonna make a Madden movie, and it's not really gonna be much about Madden. It's just gonna, you know, we're gonna take the name and then, you know, make a movie and hire some actors and make it work. Well, yeah, that's not very articulate. No.
Some people are saying a
Yeah.
Minecraft movie would be sick. Yeah, it would make me sick. That's it. But yeah, and then
Warcraft is coming out.
Warcraft. It's safe to say that was pretty much an animated movie. There's a couple of humans rolling around and one chick with heavy makeup, and but yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cut the rope.
I personally, I personally like. I played a lot of Warcraft 2, so I know a little bit about like the actual lore of Warcraft, and it's interesting, you know. But I think a lot of fans are going to be disappointed because the movie will have next to nothing to do with World of Warcraft, correct?
I do not know. I have steered clear of all things Warcraft because
Ooh, now a
in-
StarCraft movie
in
would be
college,
awesome.
a lot of the guys would just waste their lives away playing Warcraft, Dota, all these sorts of games.
Dota.
They're just losers, and they just miss their classes, and they play these games all the time, and it fed me up, and so I said, you know, I'm never getting involved with that, because everyone I know who play that, it was just like such a suck. They just spent their whole life playing that game, so
Such a suck.
I have a very negative perception of that, so as a result, I did not get involved or understand the lore of Warcraft.
There was only one game that I've ever legitimately been addicted to, and it probably will surprise
Snake?
most everybody. No,
That'd be awesome.
no.
It just keeps getting bigger every time it hits food. What do we do? We make it eat
Frogger.
itself.
It was. Dang it! I forgot the name of it now. Oh, it was
Oregon
some type.
Trail. I could
Yeah.
totally see them making an Oregon Trail game. See, that's another one of those
that'd be
games where it's like
great.
based on a
Someone
comp.
must die of dysentery
Yes,
in that
yeah.
movie. Sure, we'll cock the wagon and float it. Ain't nah, ford that river, Jed. It's only 2 feet. No, it says 2 meters. Oh no! Anyway,
Amazing.
I
Was he-
volunteer as an extra in that movie.
I would like to see that movie. Yes. So
Plants vs Zombies might work.
I'm thinking Oregon Trail is our best bet at this point in time.
Oregon
Yeah.
Trail, all right.
Because it's got
I could do an Oregon Trail movie.
Because
Yeah.
it's so diverse, where it's like anything could happen. So
and nobody really knows
throw some
anything.
plot point on there about wanting to go to Oregon and get some characters and cast some Hollywood good lookers, and you're good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yes. So we could go on and on and on. Any last thoughts about this topic of video games? I mean, it's turned into just a more broad discussion, not necessarily tied to animation, but
Yeah.
You know, video games are pretty much scripted animation. So, but yeah, definitely. I think Oregon Trail would probably be our best bet. Amazon Trail is pretty cool, but I like Oregon Trail a little better. They don't make you feel guilty for killing animals in that one.
It's true.
And
I totally played both of those. Yeah.
well, you know, Minesweeper the movie. Yeah. Okay, this number says that there are 3 mines around us. It could be in any of these 8 cardinal directions. This one.
that reminds me
You
of
should have looked at the adjacent tile. It said there was one next to it.
Scorched Earth, the movie. I mean,
Scorched Earth.
that basically is all the big, you know, shoot 'em up movie. Not shoot 'em up movies.
Blitzkrieg the movie.
Yeah.
Well, they tried making a Doom movie and it was terrible. I think if they made a Quake movie, that would be amazing. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Well,
Times indeed.
thanks for this
Well,
great discussion, guys. This was
that was
fun.
a great nerdy couch discussion, and what do you know? That leaves us with very little time to actually talk about the Angry Birds.
Oh,
What
come
a
on.
shame! What a shame! I mean, look, I guess we gotta wrap it up in like 10 minutes, y'all. I mean, let me premise our discussion on the Angry Birds movie by saying that I went and saw it with Shanna last night. Um, Shanna gets bored with a lot of things, but I when I'm watching animation, like I never get bored watching an animated film. But with this movie, I was bored out of my mind.
No.
How can a movie with so much action and dialogue and nonstop like attempts at laughs be so freaking dull? There were times when it was in the middle of the climax of the film, and I was just like, I really want to go home right now. I'm not hungry. I don't have to use the restroom or anything. I just want to go home.
Oh, man.
So anyway,
well.
I think at one point a family actually got up and left, and I was like, "Can we go? Can we go too?" No, I'm just kidding. I wanted to see it out, but it just didn't do it for me. But anyway, this was Rovio and Sony Pictures Imageworks out of Vancouver. They helped out with. They did
That
a
was
lot of the
a
animation.
new logo I'd never seen before. It was the Rovio Studio logo, right?
There it is.
So
I see it
There
all
we
the
go.
time because we have
I
Angry
like
Birds
it.
on our Roku, and so I turn it on every once in a while. So Clay Cadis, a longtime animator for Disney, and Fergal Riley, who I actually met when I was at BYU. He was giving a talk on story in the context of like the Iron Giant and stuff like that. And so it's not like they're like brand new to animation. Like these are animation veterans.
yeah, Clay Case, I think this was one of his first directing roles. He's been at Disney forever, and he inspired me to do this podcast because he started the Animation Podcast. That's straight up the name of it, the Animation Podcast. Probably like 2005 to 2008-ish.
Yeah.
And then he just got so busy because he was just doing a lot of other stuff. If I believe so, I haven't looked this up, but from what I remember about the podcast is he initially started on Pocahontas as kind of in-betweener and whatnot, and got into the industry that way. But the Animation Podcast, if you've not checked it out, the archives are still there. And since he did work at Disney, he has such great access to these legends, and so he interviews them.
Legends.
And you get to hear just really, really in-depth behind the scenes with some of these great animators. So I'm grateful for that podcast, and I loved listening to that. That was my favorite podcast of all time back in the day. And he just got so busy that he was unable to continue with it. And obviously, you get very busy when you're directing a feature-length animated film for a big studio. And this was, they did kind of poach him for this from Disney, which does happen with a lot of Disney guys recently, and it's always been the case. But so
Why do I get the feeling that like when an animated film is directed by a long-time animator, not necessarily a long-time filmmaker, do they tend to do better or worse, or is there no correlation? I'm trying to think in my database.
I feel like it's hit or miss. Like sometimes you'll have people who've been animators who get promoted and it doesn't do too well, and other times same situation and it's a total success.
Well, I mean Glenn Keane, he was master animator, and then he went into he never. Well, he was going.
He was
to
involved in Previs.
But then he ended up getting sick. But still, like everybody there, basically looks at him as like the man of Tangled. So,
well, that's one example.
Well, and then there's Gendy Tartakovsky, who was a longtime animator who was he was Hotel Transylvania 1 had like 9 directors, of which Tartakovsky was the last. So it's hard to say like just how influential he was in that film. But Hotel Transylvania 2, that was all him. And in other words, he was the director through previs until the end of production. And so, and a lot of people don't like. Some people don't like Hotel Transylvania 2 as much as Hotel Transylvania 1. I loved it for what it was, which was like an amazing showcase on Sony Animation's style and vision for an animated film, and specifically Tartakovsky. And but the story definitely lacked. And so I wonder if, I don't know, man. I wonder if it's just like, if only we can get like a master filmmaker who was also a master animator, something like that. But and then Prince of Egypt was brilliant, and that's Steve Hickner, who was a story artist for a long time. But see, he was ingrained in story from day one. But
I
he
think
also did
sometimes,
drawing. And,
yeah, you can be a great, previs, you can be a great animator, you can be a great, story development. You can be great at all of these, but ultimately, I think it's having that vision of a filmmaker and, a director is hard to achieve. Just because you're great at one thing doesn't mean you'll necessarily be great at this other role. It's kind of even in management for businesses. It's like, okay, well, this typically happens. I'm the best top performer salesperson out of 2,000 people, so they promote me to supervisor or manager, but I'm actually not that great at at managing others to be good. The reason I was good is because it was just me. And then when you put them in that management role, they fail, and it's just because that's not what their skills were. Some people are great at actually doing and then managing below them, but not everybody. And that typically happens in all sorts of industries. So it's awesome when you do find those that can do both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not saying that either Clay or Fergal are unsuccessful.
Yeah.
That's not why we were. It was just this. I was just a tangent at what we were having.
Nothing personal, guys. We just don't like the movie. Anyway. Okay, so it came out on May 20th, but it had early in the U.S. at least, but it had earlier like international releases, and I guess it was like a $73 million budget, somewhere around 80 million, and as of today, the box office earnings are $229 million. And so
they spent a lot of money on
the marketing
this
campaign, man. I don't even have cable, and I know they were marketing this.
I mean, I went to just a random ice cream shop one time with some friends, and it was like all done up in Angry Birds stuff. We had Angry Birds spoons, Angry Birds mats, Angry Birds whatever. I was like, holy mackerel! If we're gonna go all the way to this, like, just kind of a very small chain of ice cream shops, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 500 million or something crazy like that. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It was just this huge deal, and when you're the most powerful like smartphone app of all time, basically, most powerful like smartphone game, like of course you got money to throw around. But dig this, all was not well with Rovio during its production. Like, here's some production drama for you. So, there were about 150 layoffs, like jobs like laid off, even before they started production on this film. But last year, and I'm quoting an article from either Variety, let's just say Variety. But basically last year, after like failing to produce a hit beyond its like Angry Birds like flagship franchise, and I'm not quoting anymore, so it's okay. They actually cut nearly 40% of their workforce. That's 260 jobs lost. But those working on the feature film were spared.
They were their only hope.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, folks, unless you're working on the movie, you're likely to get fired. He's a great motivational speaker. But here's the deal, like, I feel like they kind of brought that on themselves, because it's like you've got Angry Birds and nothing else. There were 14 sequels and like spin-offs of the original title since 2009, and in this case, you literally can't beat pigs with pigs. There's pigs in Angry Birds for those who don't play it. But yeah, let's make a movie, because that's totally different. Like I don't know. Was it, Morgan? You're the marketing person. Like, was this some sort of last-ditch effort, or is like, am I missing something? Like, even I know that you need to diversify your product line if you help to like beat the mid game.
Well, like you said, like they were unable to produce a hit beyond Angry Birds, so they were trying with other games.
Flappy Bird took it from them, man.
That unfortunately was just some random guy.
It's just one dude out in Bangkok.
Sorry, my headset is beeping at me. Well, we're gonna make do with this. Wow, that's very distracting. So they were trying to get other other games that were going to be just as big, but it's like having lightning strike twice. Sometimes you just, that's like saying, oh, J.K. Rowling, remember how amazing Harry Potter was? We want
Yeah.
you to do that again and
Oh,
make
okay.
sure that it's just as big this time. I think sometimes you just have a hit and you can't top it. There's just no way. And I know they were trying and I know that they wanted to, but it just didn't work out.
Are you
And
saying
so
are you saying the future does not bode well for
yeah,
Fantastic
so
Beasts and where
they
to
just
find
kept,
them?
hold on. This is not.
You know, with Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beats.
Beats.
These beats are dope.
Yeah, I don't. With that one, I'm not sure how that one will go. And I think about these. I think about a lot of these, and I hate thinking like one hit wonder. Like nobody wants to be tagged as a one hit wonder. That is definitely not what anybody really wants. But at the same time, like you had a hit. Like that's pretty awesome to know that you went around and you had the biggest hit of all time. So sometimes just like walk away, drop the mic, walk away, you know? So I don't know. I feel like stop
Gotta
while you're
drop the
ahead.
mic and walk away. And yet we have so many franchises and IPs out there that just gotta milk that cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have
Feed the beast.
fixed my headphone situation. The battery was dying, so that's why it was beeping at me.
Oh, thanks for
But
telling
to
me that.
finish my point, which wasn't very coherent because it was beeping at me and very distracting. The problem with the Angry Birds movie is that even when it was announced, it was too late. It was announced
Mhm.
after the peak of Angry Birds, and oh, we're gonna make a
They were
movie.
trying
It
to
was sort
like
of,
bring it up.
it was sort of like, oh, Angry Birds, like that thing from last year, it wasn't cool anymore at that point, or it was definitely dying, and it really did feel way too late. Like maybe if at the very inception, when the game was taking off, they would have started the development of this, and then we could have got it launched, around 2012, 2013. I don't know if that would have like saved it, but the problem with this movie is, to me, even when it was announced, it felt way too late, personally, and that was a big that when you announce the movie, you're like, really, that just doesn't really lend. Either you have to blow it out of the water, which is again asking for lightning to strike twice.
Yeah. All right, so just in general, what did we think of the very first animated film based on a smartphone app? This is where we've come to, planet Earth. What did y'all think? Chelsea, I know you
Not
got
blown away.
I know you got to say something about this.
I wanted to like this. I really, really wanted to. And that's just because like you look at everybody that is involved in it and you really I want to cheer for them and I want to say, "Hey, you guys did a great job. Congratulations on everything that you're doing." I really wanted to be able to say that. My problem was 20 minutes in, I wanted to go home. I did. Oh, yeah, no, here's
Did
a
you? I'm just kidding. So I did.
I did. Well, oh yeah, it was just really funny. So, random side story. Um, yeah, this guy asked me out on a date, and I was like, "Well, I have to go see this movie. So if you want to go see this, like, if you want to hang out with me, you got to see this." And he was like, "Okay," and he like comes and like through the whole thing, he's just like, "What did I just do?"
Well,
And it was,
Chelsea, I hate to break to you, but that relationship is now not going to progress anymore. It's dead.
yeah, well, and it was really funny because I was like, "Hey, like I'm not sorry. This is what you have to deal with if you want to come out tonight." So yeah, it was just I got to the point right when the part when Bomb is about to like bomb for the first time that I was like, I don't even care. I'm kind of done, and I just felt like I want to go home too. But it was
Like, I want to blow up too.
I want to blow up too. Yeah. So I'm gonna pause and let you guys take your thoughts.
Okay. I'll talk about what I liked about it first.
Yeah, let's do that.
I thought that the animation and rigging, that's kind of my thing. I thought that was really good. All the characters are. See, they were pretty smart. They aired previews for a bunch of like probably direct to video. No, actually, one of them was for a theatrical release. It was called The Wildlife.
Yeah.
It was about the animals that like help Robinson Crusoe like fight off a bunch of pirates. Like,
Kind of strange.
yeah, look out, everybody! It's going to be the new Norm of the North. It's going to be like the new like lower budget animated family comedy that everyone is going to love to hate because it's trendy. And that one looks bad. Like the animation just doesn't look that good. And the rendering, obviously they don't have money for the Hyperion engine, but even so, like they've obviously taken shortcuts with their rendering and their texturing and lighting and stuff like that. It's one of those previews where the voiceovers don't even remotely match the lip sync, and so I looked at that, and then I look at Angry Birds, and Angry Birds is so much more vibrant and so much more professionally done. And I'm sure they attracted some top talent because this is like a huge property. And in the marketing and stuff, like there's like, high expectations for it. And so I thought that just the nuance and the detail and the animation and the texturing and stuff was very well done. Everybody moves in these beautiful arcs. It's very everybody moves very well. It's very cartoony. There's enough squash and stretch. So much squash and stretch. Actually, these characters are like made out of gummy characters. But the gummy Angry Birds movie. But I thought that was good. But like Chelsea said, I barely survived through this movie. There was just no energy in it, despite it being the characters being so hyper.
Yeah.
The pigs had a very grotesque energy to them. Like there were a few Magic Mike moments that I wish I could unsee in that film, but
yes.
Apparently that's how everybody sees red people from the South. So
music was
we're all cowboy
fairly
strippers.
well done. There was a lot more country in this than I thought there would be.
Oh, there was a country song in the middle of it. The pig song was actually not that bad.
The pig song and and I'm pretty positive that was Blake Shelton on there. I haven't looked it up just to make sure.
You obviously know Blake Sheldon more than I do.
And then after that, at the end, there was another one as well. And so I was like, there's quite a bit of country in this. I did not expect that. But I felt like the music was good. There were moments where I was like, oh, this sounds fun. But Morgan, do you have any? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then okay. So what did you think of the cast? This is certifiably a star-studded cast.
Yes.
We've got
yes.
Jason Sudeikis. We've got Josh freaking Gad. We've got Hannibal Buress. We've got one of the guys from Key and Peele. I think the Key from Key and Peele is in it. I think who's Peter Dinklage is in it.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Forgive me, everyone, while I bring up the cast list on IMDb.
No, but seriously, it was, and that was one of the things that struck me as I'm watching this. Is like there's a lot of good actors in this, but I felt like. I don't know. I felt like the whole flow of the movie didn't go. Like there was a lot of start and stop, just in the vibe that came with even with the voices.
Yeah.
You feel because they were celebrities that they distracted you from?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't the fact that they were celebrities or anything like that. I felt like the actual performances were not cohesive.
Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph. I like how Maya Rudolph is in every animated film.
Everything.
Like she must have a time turner. That's how she does it. Some conspiracy theorist out there, possibly me, is going to like, you're going to see me in my room and I'm going to have all the yarn that's connecting the dots to like pictures of Maya Rudolph and all that stuff. The conspiracy is all there. There's no way she could have been recording the lines for this animated film because she was actually recording the animated lines at the exact same time for this animated film. It's a perfect crime. She's got a clone. Confirmed Hollywood is making clones. All is lost. Danny McBride is in it.
Bill Hader.
Oh, Bill Hader.
Oh,
Sean Penn is in it. What? He didn't even speak. He was Terrence. He was the dude. He was the giant one, the bird. The big cranky ones from the game. I don't know, man. Can I just say that I don't even know who this Jason Sudeikis guy is. What was he in? We're the Millers, SNL, Horrible Bosses 2. I haven't seen any of those. Jay-Z Story, never saw that one. The Cleveland Show, don't watch it. Epic, Bomba, I don't even know who that character is. Anyway, I don't even know who this guy is, but he is not funny. That's how much I know about him. He managed to make the most unlikable main protagonist of an animated film I've ever watched. You could make a Ren and Stimpy movie, and I would be rooting for them more than I'd be rooting for Red, because he just did not have. He was just not funny.
Yeah. Well, and
it
there's
wasn't funny. It wasn't really even rootable. Because he
really
was angry all
no
the time
point.
and mean, and so the things that he got punished with, at the very beginning when he has to go to the ultimate worst punishment ever, anger management.
Yeah.
You kind of deserve it.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not a punishment. I'd say that's kind of a boon to his health. He really needs it. Okay, contrast him with other grumpy animated characters like Ice Age, Manny, or even Shrek. They start out grumpy, but they change.
Because why we see more of their motivations, why they're angry.
Yeah. Shrek has had, he's been prejudiced all his life, and he is prejudiced, and people have practiced prejudice against him. Shrekism. People have been ogreist towards him, and ogre cultural appropriation. And Manny had his family taken away by the Neanderthals, and so they have motivations. Yeah. But Red is just an angry guy
because he had eyebrows
hatched from an egg with thick eyebrows.
That's that, and people made fun of him because he had eyebrows and therefore didn't have friends, and then. So
he's like
big eyes.
He's like Goob.
Yeah.
Like Goob from what is it called? House of the Robinsons? No, Meet the Robinsons, where they're like, "Hey Goob, want to come over? Hey Goob, cool notebook." They all hated me, And what's most important is that people like Manny and Shrek and who knows about Bowler Hat Guy, maybe they all found love at the end. Manny learned to love a new family. And find love in a person that he otherwise should have hated. And Shrek found love in Fiona, who was the only person he was lucky enough to find who accepted him for who he was. And Donkey, but he wasn't in love with Donkey, he was in love with Fiona. And but Red has no love in his life. Basically, his entire purpose is to make the rest of the birds angry at the pigs so that they can take them down. And I don't know if you can get a really good moral out of that story. It's sometimes you just got to be angry and go to war. We're really going to do that today in 2016 animation?
The movie's titled Angry Birds, and so it's find out why the birds are so angry. And
we never really find out why.
I guess we find out he's angry because
he's angry because no one. Yeah, and then he's angry because the pigs are going to steal all the eggs and no one's listening to him because they don't like him.
But it wasn't a good motivator. It wasn't. To me, it's just okay, great. I still don't care about you, and you're still just really a jerk and not interested. There weren't any redeeming qualities, unfortunately, to make up for how he's behaving.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it's kind of true.
Yeah,
so, I mean, maybe that's the whole point. He's angry because he's angry, and that's just who he is, and get over it. That's why.
And then the supporting cast, it's I read that Josh Gad didn't even want to do this film eventually, immediately.
I read that
why would you
didn't want to
because this is Hollywood, because
No, I heard that he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to be repeating his whole experience, not the experience.
Oh, he didn't want to be just another Olaf. But what was he in The Angry Birds? Just a yellow Olaf, slightly faster.
So he was faster, but he didn't have. I don't feel like he knew who he wanted to be. He wanted to be so far away from Olaf that he was still doing him, but not.
He wanted to be so far away from Olaf that he did a 360 and then ended right back.
He's just the faster one. I felt like he didn't know who he wanted to be, and so that it just kind of came off like he didn't. Yeah, I'll say that again. And I felt it was kind of the same way with almost all of the characters. You didn't know who the writers wanted them to be. Like, do we want to be a friend? Do we want to like them? Do we want to just be like, oh, you're angry? Or do we want to, even the townspeople? The townspeople, I didn't know. Like, they were just the dumb town birds.
They are pretty
You know?
dumb. Like, all the birds in this movie are pretty dumb, except for
Yeah,
Red.
the
Maybe
bird
that's
is-
why he feels so angry at everyone, because he's the only one who's, like, thinking independently.
Right. And then at the end, it was just funny at the very end when they like bring his house into the whole culture and everything, and it's like, oh, great, now he's part of them. But I'm thinking, I would rather be on the beach. I would rather have my beachfront property.
Yeah.
get
I like
taken
my
care of.
land.
Slightly secluded.
I like my land. I would like to be able to fart in my house and not have my neighbors hear it. But anyway,
He's okay, but that's the thing. Like, he was so mentally not with this crowd, and yet he wants to be in the crowd, but he doesn't fit. And you know he doesn't fit, and he knows he doesn't fit, yet he's trying to still fit no matter what. And I
yeah.
didn't like that.
Yeah. And who knows? I wonder if a lot of these decisions were. Shanna brought this up last night as we were analyzing what we had just gone
Ooh,
through.
Shanna moment of the day.
Well, a little. Well, she had
Bring
two
it.
great. Well, she had two great moments. I mean, she has a bazillion great moments, but
Just two.
she has two things of worth. Well, she said something that was really poignant.
Oh, tell
Yes.
me more.
Made my ears perk up. One thing she said was, okay, after we watched it, we were discussing the plot line. She was like, you know what? I bet if we saw the wildlife movie that was in the previews, it would have been a better story than this one. I'm like, you're kind of right. And then another one she said was that we don't know how much Rovio, how much interpolation they had, or how, maybe, or maybe it was. Who was the distributor for this one? Was it
Sony.
It was Sony Pictures and
No, who
Paramount.
was the distributor though?
Right.
Distributor.
Movie.
I thought it was Paramount.
Was it?
I remember seeing a Paramount sign somewhere.
No, it distributed by Columbia Pictures. That's right, because it had the chick with the torch at the beginning.
One of those.
Yeah. Oh, some people are saying
Isn't that Universal.
I'm just looking at the news here.
MGM.
I'm just looking at the
Why?
news here. Apparently, some people don't like the movie because they think it's anti-immigration. It's anti-invasion. Like they're
Yeah.
stealing eggs and they want to eat their offspring. We throw around a lot of terms, but I wouldn't say it's anti-immigration. But anyway, so Columbia Pictures. Touchstone is the one with the horse. Yeah, there's the horse, and then there's the chick with the torch.
I thought
She's like a
Touchstone's the
wannabe
one with
Statue
like
of
the
Liberty.
three.
Anyway.
Oh, TriStar. Yeah, sorry, Touchstone is that one. The do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
TriStar is the
You
freaking
can watch
horse.
if you don't no idea what we're talking about,
Watch movies.
yes, please just watch the video stream.
Dun, da, 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 da. I still remember the ending to the Simpsons episodes. Dun, 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 ba. Anyway, oh yeah, Anyway, Jason Sudeikis sucked eggs. In the words of Squilliam Fancy Son from SpongeBob SquarePants, he sucked eggs. But it was just bad. Like, okay, it took an hour. Oh, Shanna timed it. 90 minutes long. It took an hour to get through the exposition and actually get to the conflict of the movie. It took an hour. 2/3 of your movie was setting up the conflict. And I'll tell you all right now, spoiler alert, they only fling each other themselves at the towers that the pigs build for 5 minutes of the film. If you cut that out and just cut to the part where the slingshot broke and they're all in the castle, you could have switched any species of animals and it could have been any other animated film.
Yeah.
Like, they only got into the slingshot stuff very briefly. If the whole movie was about slingshotting, I would have been more entertained.
So I felt like there were plot points in here that were kind of crowbarred into the story. And it was like, But it was just so weird because it was like, okay, well, the video game says we have to do this, and so like make sure that plot point is in there. Okay, make sure that plot point is in there, and then that's basically we can generally explain this plot all these plot points in about 10 minutes, 10 15 minutes. Well, how do we make it 90? Okay. So I just felt like there was a lot of that going on, and that's why I felt like the flow of the movie was it was just off. And I felt like there were moments where you're like going, this is the plot, and then this happened. And then this happened. It was just like nothing happened and then something happened. Nothing happened and then something happened.
It makes me wonder, I think the question Mason was trying to ask before we kind of got distracted by movie studio logos
The word you're searching for.
how involved was Rovio in this?
Yeah.
Were they the overarching hand, that was always meddling, always involved, which kind of prevented the creators from telling a story that maybe would have been better, would have had more of a, character development or development.
Like wouldn't Rovio just have one condition? It needs to be about flinging birds with a slingshot at towers that the pigs build?
In theory, right?
And they're like, okay, we'll have it for 3 seconds, but the rest of it is going to be this super convoluted. And it wasn't even because it was a complicated exposition. Like, the pigs come, they think they're friends. Nobody believes him, even though because he doesn't trust them, because they don't like him. And when they find out that they actually are bad, they repent and they choose him as their leader for some reason.
So is that why this movie doesn't work? Because we were talking.
No. This movie doesn't work because they wasted time for so long in this film.
But
you could have taken away all the. Okay, good. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm just saying, so we were talking about, they just kept repeating themselves. There's 14 sequels to this game. It's all the same thing. The pigs, are there, and the birds attack, and you have to, like the game, every single episode or level, you have to be a bird and use your special abilities to destroy the towers, right? That's the whole point. So if they were so good at, doing the exact same thing, wouldn't technically, if Rovio was involved, the movie would just be that. It would be 60 minutes of action, attack, or whatnot. And so you think they were trying to spin it up and be different by saying, well, everyone knows that Angry Birds is about attacking the pigs. So let's instead...
But how'd they get so angry?
Let's get the motivation about why. And then they spent too much time on that, and that's ultimately... It didn't work because we didn't care about that.
There's only so much you can do with unappealing characters.
Okay, that's a big thing. Unappealing characters. I hardly liked anyone in the movie. Like Matilda was a psychopath. Chuck was annoying because Olaf. I liked Baum, but he was just that bashful, kind of low key big guy character. Red was an idiot, and then the Great Eagle wasn't even cool.
No.
So lame. And then
and he wasn't even lame enough to be funny lame.
I did like the little when he noticed when he said the Great Eagle and Baum, like it goes into his brain and he imagines what the Great Eagle is like, and he's like this amazing superhero and stuff, and they're debating over what his call is, like go in Red's face and stuff. But another part of it is that they just went for so many of these gags and jokes and slapstick and mayhem and fart jokes and oh my gosh, the potty humor in this. Okay, the scene where the Great Eagle is like peeing in the Lake of Wisdom for like 5 minutes, that is straight out of Norm of the North. Like, guys, you took a page out of Norm of the North, for crying out loud. Like, you need to fire that writer. But for crying out loud, like maybe other people were laughing in the theater, but me and Shanna were just like, what? I blame Seth MacFarlane. You know why? Because he's the one who started this, like, hold it longer than necessary, hold it uncomfortably long until people laugh at the fact that you held it uncomfortably long, thus making them laugh even more.
The old Simpsons rake.
And it's the Simpsons did it with Class.
They did do it. With
Family
Class.
Guy ruined it, as Seth MacFarlane usually does, and because I hate him, and I'm not afraid to say it. And that kind of humor has just inundated animated films for some reason, and I just felt so insulted as a viewer at that stupid peeing scene. It's literally potty
We are
humor.
all now dumber for
It's
having
a toilet
watched
joke,
this.
folks. Literally a big, giant
Giant
toilet
toilet.
joke. If you laughed, you better be a 3-year-old, because then, yeah, after 3-year-olds is probably pretty funny, but yeah. Anyway, like, I need to stop talking because I'm just gonna get super pissed at this movie. But anyway,
Well, as far as
in
okay,
the
what
end,
are some ways that they could have
Ending.
that they really needed to, or how could they have approached this better then?
just don't, like, in the words of Ian Malcolm, they thought so much about whether they could, they didn't stop to think about whether they should. And I think if they had made a half-hour animated film that cut right to the chase and had a lot of stuff to satisfy the fans, I think it would have been a lot more successful. But of course, they made the Angry Birds tunes, which sparked interest in making the full-length animated feature. And so, you can only go bigger, with these
It's like
guys.
every time that they make a Dr. Seuss movie, I am just kind of like, oh, what are you gonna add of your own? Why?
Aren't they
because-
redoing The Grinch?
Probably.
Mhm.
I mean,
Illumination is.
the thing is that like these stories are only supposed to be 20 minutes long. Like that's all that they needed to be, and there's a reason things got cut. Come on, people. So anyway, okay. So I guess let's just move on.
We have a lot of voicemails, so
Yay! We got to the voicemails. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't mean to be a grumpazoid on these.
Everybody knows that I don't want to.
Yeah, I
I
don't want to
want
be a
to stay
grumpazoid on this
positive.
show, and I
Huh?
hate being the cynic, but it's just a bad movie.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
was it better than Norm of the North?
You all know how I feel
told me
about
not
Norm
to
of the
see
North.
Norm of the North, so I never
I
did.
would say yes, and
I am
that's
very motherly
great.
about Norm of the
Really?
North.
this was better. Better.
This
not
was
worse.
better than Norm of the North? Holy crap.
This
So-
was better. This was better than Norm of the North. I will
Just go
admit.
see Norm of the North, and
Oh, you can have my copy. You can have my copy of the movie, Chels.
Wow, he's so kind. He's giving
Take it, please.
Okay. So
It's watching me from the mantle.
before we rate it, let's do the voicemails because there might be some questions relating to different things. So
Jeremiah Bach in the chat, just real quick, he mentioned that he brought up a real good point. The jokes were at the same time too immature and too mature.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it's really not that quite appropriate even for a kid. There's so many unclever sex jokes and stuff beyond the. Beyond the trailer described it as South Park light. Ooh, that's a pretty heavy accusation. But I completely agree. There was some adult humor. There was even a 50 Shades of Grey reference in it.
Yeah.
It is so lame. Like, no one wants to see that. And I don't know. I hope this is not the direction where modern animation is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Jeremiah, he sent in a voicemail. So
Was he a bullfrog? Was he?
Let's check it out. Let's possibly if it plays. No, maybe.
Not yet.
Hello,
We can hear him now.
everyone. This is Jeremiah, your little bullfrog, calling for the second time about. Oh, well, yes, well, you all enjoy that. I watched Wreck-It Ralph again recently, and I think I'll stick with that. But you all enjoy. I think I'll take this opportunity instead to talk about how fantastic you all are, because you really have given me so many fun little things that sparkle up my life a bit. For instance, that I naturally have to call all Studio Ghibli Studio Jiggling every once in a while. And I also occasionally listen to you with my sister. She's grown quite fond of you, and you introduced us to the Thief and the Cobbler. Or, I told her you absolutely have to hear this podcast. It's such a fascinating, sad story. And then we had to watch The Cobbler Recobbled, and she was just wowed by the artistry. And then we had to watch even the terrible Miramax version a zillion times. And yes, just thank you so much for lovely times. You make sad days a little less sad, and you make bright days brighter. So thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Aw,
Oh, Jeremiah,
thanks.
thank you so much. We are so happy that we get to sparkle up your day, as you said. And you know, I love doing this show so much. You guys are I don't consider y'all fans as much as friends, and so we love the connection we have in the chat and stuff. Like we love yucking it up with y'all, and yeah, we love it, love it,
It
love it.
really is. It really is just like a party in the chat, and it's like everyone's invited. So, I really enjoy this, and you guys, it's a fun time.
Studio
Thank you.
jiggling, that's right. That was a good one.
That was a great one. Yes,
That was a
the
good.
majority.
We get a lot of callbacks and fan letters about that episode, but that was a fun one. But yeah,
All right,
he
ready
didn't
for
have
the
any
next.
questions. Yeah, I can't.
All right, next voicemail is from Melissa.
Melissa, huh?
Hey Rotoscopers, it's Melissa leaving my review for the Angry Birds movie. I was a little hesitant when I heard that this movie was coming out, like, really? They're making a movie of this? But I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought that the movie was really funny. I thought the voice cast was great, and the animation looked wonderful. I hope that we get to see more from Rovio Animation. I'm excited to see what they do next. Again, I thought the humor was really great in this movie, lots of cool puns, and I thought it was really funny how the birds couldn't fly, and that was like an assumed and known thing that birds can't fly. The only thing I didn't really like about this movie were the pigs. I thought they were a little unappealing. We didn't really get to know them. Honestly, if the whole movie was just on Bird Island, I would have been perfectly fine with that. Yeah, again, the pigs, everything about them was a little weird. But other than that, I thought the movie was great. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you for all, thank you for all you do. Bye.
Hmm.
I'm glad she liked it.
Well, I about the pigs, I think that I don't know. The less I know about them, the better, in my opinion, because like you don't ever want to get into that like if you're gonna have a villain, make them a villain. Like don't be sympathetic towards them. You know, like don't make this tragic backstory Maleficent that makes you like pity them and change your view of them and takes away from the power of the fact that they're a villain in the first place. So that's just my opinion on the pigs. We
Well,
do know quite a lot about them. They are industrial. They are technologically advanced. They are greedy and hungry, and they're all Southern, I guess. I don't
awesome. Okay, next one is from Rachel. Good old Miss Rachel. So, will it play?
Hi, Rotoscopers. So I
Hi.
had the chance to see Angry Birds, and I didn't really like it very much. I thought the animation was pretty good, but other than that, I felt like it had too much sort of tawdry humor that I didn't really like, and I felt like the messaging was very strange. I thought that I was expecting it to be sort of a Grinch type story with the character learning to be kind and learning to not be angry, but instead they sort of combined anger with confidence, and they made it seem like the
Never a good
characters that
combination.
weren't angry were sort of stupid and gullible, and whereas like Red, he's angry and he's somehow smarter and he kind of figures things out. So that was really odd messaging for a film aimed at kids. I thought that was strange, and I thought the music was really overbearing and loud and just kind of obnoxious, distracting, and the musical sequences like the hoedown went on so long that I just grew tired of them, and I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was very good. So hopefully you guys like it better than I did, and yeah. Well, I'm curious what you'll think. So thanks.
Oh, thank
Well,
you so much.
now you know.
Yeah. Well, here it is. Uh, you know, I like your point that you made. Okay, for one, let's not get off track with the whole like. Okay, you boil it down to its main ingredients. It's about standing up to bullies. It's about standing up to fighting for justice and freedom and all that stuff. But at the same time, Red's motivation and based on Red's personal like story arc, you're right. He basically combined his anger with newfound confidence, and you boil that all together, and you get a bona fide Sith Lord. Like anger and confidence equals Sith Lord. And that's pretty much it. Like, you're right. There needed to be a moment where he had a change of heart, but then you wouldn't have angry birds, would you? Maybe they just
Would
get
ya?
angry when... Would ya? Would ya? But then maybe they just get angry when they get invaded, you know? I don't know.
Okay, next one. We have two more, and that are talking about Angry Birds specifically, and then we have one question. So, Ryan, you are up. 3, 2, 1. No, maybe not.
Not yet.
Hello, Rotoscopers.
Oh, here he is.
Ryan Pareto here with my voicemail for the Angry Birds review. Upon Chelsea's request to go support animation, I went out to the theater, and you know what? I do not regret my purchase. It was actually a pretty fun movie. Brought my baby sister who wanted to come see it. Well, she's not a baby, she's a toddler. Well, it's a 6-year-old. Who knows? Science can never tell us what a toddler is. But I enjoyed myself. She explained to me the vast Angry Birds lore. Pigs take the eggs. Birds try to get him back. Which actually, now that I think about it, 2/3 of the movie went by before they actually got the eggs. And there was a lot, you know, I don't know if it was a lot of lowbrow humor, but I think it was up until this is one of those movies that those last 10-15 minutes really justify all the time you invested, because that final scene was, I'm discounting the rest of the movie, because I think the entirety of the movie gets a 3-star, if not a 2.5 for me. But that final scene, 5 out of 5. It was all the potential that was in the concept of making an Angry Birds movie was in those final 15 minutes with that amazing scene. But like I said, right now, as a whole, 3 stars. Sistering liked it. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Brian. I'm so glad that you had that. Something to
I can't
add.
even remember. Something about a gigantic explosion
Well, the big pot falls on top of him, and then the giant,
on Red, and
explosion.
it shields him from the deafening explosion.
And then did you guys? I did end up watching the continuation during the
We left
credit.
during the credits. We left.
Yeah, well, they did have like the 3 little birds that he saved, and they like have their superpower of like.
Yep. That's from the game.
I assumed.
Alright.
Yeah.
Next
Did we
one.
rate it?
Not yet. We have 2
Okay,
more
we'll rate it at the
voicemails.
end.
So,
Alright.
Okay,
first
cool.
one is Sarah.
Hello, Rotoscopers. It's me, Sarah, again,
Hi,
and
Sarah.
I am here to leave a voicemail for Angry Birds podcast. I've not seen them this year, I'm not gonna lie, but I finally watched Titan AE, and it was what it was. I wasn't really wild about it. The special effects and scenery were really good, but the plot and characters, they were kind of hokey. Sorry, Mason. This is not one of those Donald Bluth movies I will be watching over and over and over. All in all, I have to give it just a 2 out of 5 stars. So, yeah, bye, Morgan, Mason, and Chelsea. I love y'all, and have a good day. Bye.
Aw.
Thanks.
Sarah, we love y'all too. I totally forgive you for not being crazy for Titan AE. It's totally like 10-year-old Mason
fine.
loved it,
Fine.
and he
Whatever.
never stopped loving it.
All right, last one is MJ with her question. So here we go.
Hello, fellow Rotoscopers. It's MJ here, and I want to say a big congratulations to Morgan for her news. And this had me think of a question for you guys. What is the very first animated movie that you would love to show your children if or when you have them? What's the movie that you just can't wait to share with
So
them?
that
Thanks,
was a
guys.
question that
Love
she
you all.
sent in for a few episodes ago, but we moved it. So.
Well, it's a good one. It's a timeless one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go first. Which ones would you show your kids? The first animated film you would show your children. Morgan, you go first. This should be on the brain.
That's hard.
It should be on
Well,
the brain.
because you want to show age-appropriate films, right? So maybe
Land Before Time.
Your favorite movie isn't necessarily the most appropriate, right? I feel like you just can't go wrong with certain Disney ones. I mean, I'd want to say, oh, it's got to be Beauty and the Beast, but Beauty and the Beast has some pretty scary
Yeah,
moments. Could be
it's
scary for and at what age am I showing kids these movies? I don't know. I mean, of course, you people always start out as being the parent of like my children will never ever watch movies or TV, and then by the time they're 2 or by the time the second or third one rolls around, it's like
You're like, kid,
please
just shut up and watch
go
Thomas the
watch a
Tank Engine.
movie and leave me alone. So I do not have unrealistic expectations for what will happen based on my experience with everybody else and their parenting experiences. So still,
You can't shy away from good quality family entertainment.
that's the thing. I'm like, it's my duty to represent the good stuff, right? So unfortunately, I do in my Disney Movies Anywhere collection have some strange films. That just because you get the digital copy, and I'm like, ugh, can I just like hide that so the child never has to watch that? Because not worth it. But anyway, so I don't know. Little Mermaid, can't go wrong with that. I don't know. What do you think?
Little
I
Mermaid
don't
might have
think
some
about
scary
these
stuff in
things.
it. Well, you got to remember that if you go really young, they won't even realize what they're watching.
It's true.
Okay, but if you
Winnie
go
the
too
Pooh is-
old,
Is as good as you're gonna get at that
oh,
age.
dude, I don't. Yeah,
Heffalumps.
they might be
Yeah,
too scary.
Oh yes, the heffalumps and that one legitimately freaked me out as a
Well,
child.
there we
They
go,
did?
Chelsea. Thanks for the suggestion.
Now
I think
that
I
realized,
think the first animated film I watched was Peter Pan. That one's pretty light, don't you think?
Yes.
Captain Hook's not really that threatening.
101 Dalmatian. Well,
No.
She goes
scary.
kinda
Here's
crazy.
the
Deville,
thing.
she's
The real
scary
world,
beyond all
world is
reason.
scary, so we just need to say, hey, gotta
deal
have
with
a
it.
little bit of scariness and deal with it.
Yeah.
No,
Watership Down,
no
definitely.
water down. I think I'll hold off for a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, most
They wouldn't
Disney-
appreciate it for what it was.
Most Disney is, although I do have, at some point in time, I will be showing my children Fantasia, and they will be liking it, because I know I've mentioned before, if you don't grow up with Fantasia, you don't appreciate Fantasia, and I was watching it with my in-laws and nieces and nephews and whatnot, and like they eventually 30 minutes into it, they said, this is boring, what is this, I want to change it. I'm like, it's Fantasia, it's amazing. So I think that's one that you had to have grown up at a very, very young age watching it and loving it, because that's me. I always remember watching that or looking at my Disney VHS collection. Which one am I going to watch today? And picking Fantasia or picking this one or that one. Ah, the squishy box. So good.
Gotta have
And our
the
kids
squishy
won't
box.
have that. They won't be able to.
They'll just have cold, hard streaming data. You can't bring that to school and show it off to your friends.
I'm being mad.
Look
when
at the
some of it is
stream.
blind.
Yeah.
Good times.
I don't know. I think something maybe like Robin Hood. Maybe not Fox and the Hound. Maybe Winnie the Pooh. Something like that.
I would go Cinderella probably.
Aw.
Nice.
Cinderella's a good
Cinderella's
one.
pretty light.
Are there
Yeah.
non-Disney that we would?
Nope.
Well, a lot of the
Definitely Disney.
Pixar. I mean, most
Pixar's,
but
yeah.
Pixar, I think Pixar tends to be, well, not older, but I don't know. Toy Story. Every kid loves Toy
Up would
Story.
be a cute one for a young
Cars
kid.
for boys.
Oh
and
yeah, Cars
girls.
is awesome.
I mean, not saying
Only
girls
because I
can't
saw
like
some
Cars,
I
but-
saw some hate in the chat. I would totally make my kids watch Rockadoodle all the time. So.
Rockadoodle.
You would. So, all right. Well, let's wrap it up, folks. So, before we go, we need to rate the movie. And what would you rate this film?
2 stars, people. I rarely vote. I rarely rate one so low, but 2 stars, man. I was literally bored during this film, and I am never bored like watching animated films. So something went wrong here.
I also give 2 stars. It was hard. It was a struggle, and
The struggle was real.
the struggle was real. And I'm really glad though that there are those people that enjoyed it, and I really want them to be really loud because that's awesome. Somebody needs to pat somebody on the back saying they did a good job, because you put a lot of effort into something. You want it to be good, and I wanted it to be good as well, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. How about that? Politically correct.
Yes, 2 stars. Done.
Done. Got it.
All right. So let us know your thoughts in the show notes. Thanks for joining us. Our whoa, I'm all over the place again. I start the episode, jumble mess. I end the episode, a jumble mess. So if you would like to give us your review, be sure to go to rotoscopers.com/124 and let us know in the comments your review, your thoughts, what worked, what didn't work about the Angry Birds movie. I know people in the comments who joined us live had lots of thoughts about this, and so we appreciate everyone who joined us live. It's been amazing to have you guys and to be able to interact, and it really adds a lot to the show. So thank you, thank you. Our next episode is actually going to be, Emperor's New Groove, Rest?
Oh,
No,
sweet.
it's not. No, that's in like a long time, right?
Yeah, no.
People keep asking for Emperor's New Groove. It's actually, sorry, Emperor's New Groove will probably be in the fall. We have about 6 patron picks before Emperor's New Groove. Next one is going to be Song of the Sea, which is very, very highly requested. A lot of people have been wanting us to do this for a long time. Followed by Finding Dory. So make sure to see those 2 films, Finding Dory, when it comes out. Go support it in theaters. Also, Angry Birds movie, if you have not seen it, go support it in theaters as well. And Song of the Sea. I will include links on the bottom of rotoscopers.com where you can rent it if you have not seen it through iTunes and then Amazon. So check that out. And if you would like to support the show, we have various ways. You can support us on shopping on Amazon, rotoscopers.com/Amazon. You can also support us by being a patron. So rotoscopers.com/patron, that's where you give a little monthly subscription or a monthly pledge to each one of us. And I think now I am behind on some of the patron perks. The stickers that I have to mail out and the cards that go along with that. I know some of you are waiting, and I'm very, very sorry. I blame it on being really, really sick and totally unmotivated. So I will get those out to you. But as far as the other perks go, we do have a monthly episode where we just have a whole lot of fun. It's really turned into this fun Q&A, and then Mason starts drawing just random requests from the patrons. And
it's a great time.
We will be recording our show for April. Have we decided a date? We already did that. May.
We're in May.
This is the last day of May, but we will be recording our episode for the May Rotocast very soon. Did we decide on the date, ladies and gentlemen?
We have not posted a date, but
if you are a patron, we will decide that within the next little bit, and we will email you.
You mean the June Rotocast?
No,
this is for May. We
already missed a month.
April, and so we did the April one in May, and we still need to do the May one. Anyways, you will get it. That's basically what it comes down to. If you're patrons, $5 or more, you get access to that show. So thanks so much for those who have supported us and continue to support us. It really means a lot to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And until our next episode, Song of the Sea, I'm really excited. We're going completely other direction, it seems, with our next film. So
yeah.
Can't wait for that. And so before we sign off, any last announcements, thoughts?
One more.
This was a big episode for us all.
Yeah.
Whether or not we liked it or not.
One more idea for an animated film based off a video game.
Perfect.
Duck Hunt movie.
Yes, I saw that earlier in the chat too.
I'm just saying. All right. You can find us on social media. I have not been very active on social media, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. It's been lame. But at Morgan Stradling on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Snapchat. Chelsea Robson is at Chelsea Robson on Twitter, chelsearobson.com. She's also Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, and so find her there.
Well, Snapchat is Chelsea M. Robson. I was late on that one.
You gotta be first one. You gotta go. Once you hear of a new thing, you gotta snatch up your name.
I know. Gotta catch them all.
And Mason Smith has a very somewhat common name, and is Mason SMTX in all good places, Twitter, and also his masonsmithportfolio.com. So check him out there. He is officially legit, no longer an aspiring animator. He's a freaking animator, guys. So props to him.
He just adds so many kudos to our level of awesomeness on this podcast.
Oh, wow.
All right, so we will, before we go, we need to pick a title for the episode. I had Geniteur listed as
Geniteur.
Mason's being his play on a Gen 1er, but Geniteur. Was there anything else? Anyone in the chat that has a suggestion for title for this episode? If not, we will just pick something and roll with it.
Anyone?
Anyone? No. Okay. Mason, Chelsea.
Mason crossing
No, I
the
don't
road,
have
maybe?
any. I was mostly just angry this whole time. The Angry Mason episode. Anyway.
Well, we did all have big announcements.
Announcements.
Oh yeah, Mason.
Announcements
Mason's
inside.
official. Chelsea is going to Rio, and Morgan's pregnant. So I don't know. We can just do Geniteur.
All right.
Okay.
Who's doing that one? Who's recording that?
I can do it.
All right.
All right. You're listening to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers, episode 124. Angry Birds, the movie. Geniteur.
It's the Angry Birds movie.
The Angry Birds movie.
Okay.
Just do it again. Just do it.
Sorry, I'll do it again. I was like, wait, what are we doing? Okay. You're listening to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers, episode 124, The Angry Birds movie. I want to be a geniteur.
No, just
Yeah, you
Geniteur.
do.
Geniteur.
All right. That's pretty good.
Sweet. Thank you guys. Okay, so until next episode.
We are the Rotoscopers.
Bye guys.